Well, we have all been there. You have something planned out, it all seems to be going great until it isn't. In 2020, we spoke with an artist named William Toliver. It was the height of the pandemic. He was a biology teacher who decided to take his passion for art to social media. Now, his projects blew up and he received attention from news outlets from across the country. But what happens when expectations from others doesn't live up to your current reality? Here's his story in our series, Enough. I want you to tell me, what has this last 2 years been like for you mentally?
I was taking some time to kind of just recoup and just reset. And that reset turned into like a downward trend. I went from, not having to worry about, like my necessities in life to essentially deciding whether I should put money into like groceries or if I should be able to like get in my car and go do something. I remember one conversation I met with somebody and they were like, you're doing well with social media. You have this many followers, you have this going on. Everything should be great, right? And it's just like, no, not really. But you don't want to portray that negativity out to people because everybody else is doing their own thing too. So
can I ask you that?
Yeah.
Why you felt like you didn't want to portray negativity or that it was even considered negative that you were going through something?
Because I feel like, everyone has their own things that they're dealing with. And it's like, I don't want to put my burdens onto other people. I feel like as a man, I'm 33 years old. I shouldn't have to ask people for help. And if it's like, if I can't do this on my own, I shouldn't be doing it. You should be able to take care of yourself. And if you can't do that, then you're really not a man in society's eyes,
You talk about being a whole man and then you wear a shirt saying, I am enough. So I want to talk about that. Not feeling adequate, not feeling whole,
right.
But you wear, I am enough. What does that mean?
And I didn't feel like I was enough. And I initially wrote down positive affirmations because, positive thinking, all that like manifestation stuff. But then as I really started to break down the characteristics of this, who I was and this, what I wanted and what I wanted to be, there were things that weren't necessarily positive, right? But they're might be considered a negative to some people, but in reality, they're just part of who you are. And it took me a minute to understand that I am enough means you are enough in totality.
Well, no internal battle is too small when it comes to asking for help. If you've been looking for someone to talk to, there's the National Suicide Hotline, which is there at the bottom of your screen. Locally, though, there's the North Texas branch of the Alliance on Mental Health. We spoke to them directly. They have several resources available. In addition to that, since this series has been airing, we started to receive quite a bit of feedback from you guys. So we've linked several other resources on this web story. You can find it online, WFAA.com/Black Mental Health. All right, Greg, sending things over to you.
All right.